How to talk to people in pairs. Lena stared at the English textbook, a knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. How to talk to people in pairs, she murmured, the words feeling foreign and distant. Other people seemed to talk in English with such effortless grace, a skill she deeply coveted. Her desire to communicate was strong, yet fear held her back consistently. She often spent hours immersed in English story reading, hoping passive learning would magically unlock fluency. But when it came to actual conversation, her mind froze. The thought of making a mistake paralyzed her. "I don't want to make mistakes," she'd lament, "but I always do. Why?" This persistent fear plagued her every attempt. She knew how to talk in English, theoretically, but the practical application was terrifying. Every potential word felt like a trap, every sentence a potential blunder waiting to happen. Her confidence dwindled with each silent, avoided interaction, frustrating her deeply. One evening, while scrolling online, she stumbled upon an article, "Why You Should Practice Speaking." It emphasized the vital role of active production, not just consumption. The words resonated, striking a chord within her hesitant heart. Perhaps her approach was fundamentally flawed from the beginning. The article also highlighted how to improve your listening skills, suggesting engaging with diverse accents and contexts. Lena realized her listening was adequate for understanding stories, but real-time conversation presented unique challenges. She needed to attune her ears to the nuances of natural, spoken English more effectively. She resolved to change her strategy. The best way to learn English, the article proclaimed, is immersion and consistent practice. It wasn't about avoiding errors, but embracing them as stepping stones. This shift in perspective was revolutionary, offering a glimmer of hope after months of frustration. Lena decided to seek out opportunities. Her first brave step was joining an online language exchange group. The thought of speaking directly to strangers filled her with dread, but the memory of her stalled progress pushed her forward. She typed her first hesitant, "Hello." Her initial conversations were awkward, filled with long pauses and halting sentences. How to talk to anyone in English felt like an impossible riddle. She stumbled over grammar, mispronounced words, and sometimes completely misunderstood questions. But she persevered, driven by a newfound resolve. She started pairing with different people, focusing on the simple act of communication, not perfection. Talking to people in pairs proved incredibly helpful. Her partners were patient, often correcting her gently or rephrasing their questions, making her feel less self-conscious about her struggles. One partner, a kind student named Hiro from Japan, encouraged her greatly. "Everyone makes mistakes," he assured her. "That's how we learn. Don't worry about it too much, just keep talking." His words were a balm to her anxious spirit, easing her self-imposed pressure. Hiro suggested they read English stories aloud together, alternating paragraphs. This active reading practice helped her pronunciation and rhythm. She noticed other people talk in English with a natural flow she desperately craved, and this exercise slowly began cultivating it within her. To improve her listening, Lena started watching English language vlogs and podcasts without subtitles. Initially, it was daunting, a blur of sounds. But gradually, her ear began to pick out individual words and phrases. How to improve your listening skills truly came down to sheer exposure. She started identifying common idioms and conversational fillers, understanding the flow of natural speech, even when she didn't grasp every single word, became easier. Her brain slowly began to map the sounds to meaning more efficiently. This active listening proved invaluable. The fear of making mistakes still lingered, a shadow on the edges of her mind. "I don't want to make mistakes, but I always why," echoed in her thoughts before every call. Yet, the positive feedback from her partners and her small victories built resilience. She learned that how to talk in English wasn't about flawless grammar, but about conveying meaning effectively. People understood her, even with her errors. This realization was liberating, shifting her focus from perfection to genuine connection during conversations. Her confidence grew, slowly but steadily. She found herself initiating conversations more often, asking clarifying questions, and even attempting jokes. The initial dread of talking to anyone in English began to dissipate, replaced by a cautious optimism she hadn't felt before. Lena discovered that the best way to learn English was multifaceted. It wasn't just speaking or listening, but a blend of all skills. Regular English story reading provided vocabulary, while pair conversations solidified its application in real-time communication settings. She started keeping a small notebook of new phrases and expressions she encountered. Reviewing these before her next session helped her integrate them into her active vocabulary. This methodical approach added structure to her otherwise chaotic learning journey, improving retention significantly. One day, during a conversation with a new partner, Lena realized she hadn't paused to mentally translate. The words were flowing, not perfectly, but spontaneously. It was a small but significant breakthrough, indicating a shift from conscious effort to more subconscious fluency development. Her partner complimented her fluency, which surprised Lena. She still heard her own imperfections, but others perceived progress. This external validation reinforced her belief in consistent effort. It truly showed why you should practice speaking every single day. She continued to seek out how to talk to people in pairs, finding new partners with different accents and backgrounds. Each new interaction was a mini adventure, expanding her understanding of diverse communication styles and broadening her linguistic horizons, enriching her learning. Lena even started role-playing scenarios with a friend who was also learning. Practicing dialogues for specific situations, like ordering food or asking for directions, made her feel more prepared for real-life interactions. This practical application was incredibly empowering for her confidence. The idea of how other people talk in English became less intimidating. She understood that everyone had their unique way, and her goal wasn't to emulate perfection, but to find her own authentic voice. This acceptance was a cornerstone of her progress. Her journey wasn't without setbacks. Some days she felt frustrated, her mistakes glaring, her progress seemingly stalled. The old fear, "I don't want to make mistakes," would creep back in. But she had learned to push past these moments of self-doubt. She reminded herself of Hero's words, "Mistakes are learning opportunities." Instead of dwelling, she'd note the error, try to understand why it happened, and then consciously attempt to correct it in future conversations. This proactive approach transformed her failures into lessons. English story reading continued to be a comfort and a resource. She moved from simplified readers to authentic novels, enjoying the rich language and expanding her vocabulary naturally. It reinforced the joy of learning beyond just the mechanics of conversation. She discovered podcasts specifically designed for English learners, which offered comprehension exercises alongside captivating stories. These resources reinforced how to improve your listening skills in a structured, engaging manner, making practice feel less like a chore and more like entertainment. Gradually, the initial anxiety surrounding how to talk to anyone in English transformed into genuine excitement. Every conversation was an opportunity to connect, to learn, and to grow. Her perception of English shifted from a daunting challenge to an open door. She started noticing how other people talk in English in movies and TV shows, picking up on nuances she had previously missed. Idioms, slang, and cultural references became clearer, enhancing her overall comprehension and making her feel more connected to the language. Her advice to beginners became simple: don't be afraid to sound silly. She had embraced her own initial awkwardness and realized it was a necessary stage. Why you should practice speaking became her mantra, shared with anyone struggling. Lena's commitment to how to learn English solidified into a consistent routine. Daily listening, regular speaking practice, and dedicated reading became integrated into her life, not as obligations, but as enjoyable parts of her personal growth journey. She joined a local English-speaking club, taking her online how to talk to people in pairs experience into a physical setting. This was another huge step, facing native speakers and diverse accents in person, pushing her comfort zone even further. The initial nervousness quickly faded as she found the group supportive and encouraging. Sharing stories, debating topics, and simply chatting enhanced her fluidity. She realized how invaluable how to talk in English in varied social contexts truly was for practical application. Her listening skills sharpened dramatically. She could follow fast-paced conversations, distinguish subtle accents, and understand jokes and sarcasm. How to improve your listening skills wasn't just about hearing words, but grasping deeper meanings and intentions accurately. The fear of "I don't want to make mistakes" became a distant memory. She understood that fluency wasn't about error-free speech, but about effective communication. Mistakes were just signposts indicating areas for continued learning, not reasons for quitting completely. She even started thinking in English, a monumental shift. No longer translating every thought, her mind began to process directly in the language. This internal fluency marked a significant milestone, proving the best way to learn English was comprehensive immersion. Lena helped other new learners in the club, sharing her strategies. She emphasized the importance of English story reading for vocabulary and sentence structure. Her own journey became an inspiration, demonstrating that persistence yields incredible results over time. She stressed why you should practice speaking constantly, even when tired or discouraged. Every spoken word is a step forward, she'd say, recalling her own initial hesitation and subsequent triumph. Consistency, she knew, was the true key to unlocking fluency. Her ability to how to talk to anyone in English grew beyond basic introductions. She could engage in complex discussions, express nuanced opinions, and participate actively in debates. Her confidence now radiated, reflecting years of dedicated practice and perseverance. How to talk to people in pairs remained a cornerstone of her learning. She valued the immediate feedback and personalized attention that one-on-one interactions provided. It was a safe space for experimentation, refining her skills without the pressure of a larger audience. She reflected on her beginnings, the overwhelming feeling of how other people talk in English seeming so unattainable. Now, she was one of those other people, conversing with ease and genuine enjoyment, a testament to her unwavering dedication and smart practice. Her journey taught her that "I don't want to make mistakes, but I always why" was a universal struggle for learners. The true solution lay not in avoiding errors, but in embracing them as inevitable parts of the learning curve, transforming fear into progress. She even started recommending specific English story reading materials to friends, guiding them towards resources that had genuinely helped her. She understood that finding engaging content was crucial for sustained motivation and natural language acquisition, making learning fun. How to improve your listening skills was an ongoing process, she realized. The more she listened to diverse media, news, documentaries, music, the more refined her comprehension became, including understanding regional accents and cultural specificities effortlessly. Her path exemplified how to learn English effectively, a blend of structured study, consistent practice, and fearless application. It wasn't a sprint, but a marathon, filled with small, consistent steps that accumulated into profound transformation, truly life-changing. The satisfaction of connecting with people globally, sharing ideas, and understanding different cultures filled her with immense joy. English became more than a language. It was a bridge, expanding her world in ways she never imagined possible before she started. She recalled her intense frustration when thinking how to talk in English was an insurmountable barrier. Now, she spoke spontaneously, expressing herself authentically, her voice clear and confident, a stark contrast to her once hesitant whispers and self-doubt. Lena had unlocked her voice. Her fluency was a direct result of embracing mistakes, seeking consistent practice, and understanding that listening and speaking are two sides of the same communication coin. She truly embodied the best way to learn English. She continued to learn, always curious, always open to new experiences. The world of English was vast, and her journey was ongoing, but she now possessed the tools and confidence to navigate it successfully, connecting with anyone, anywhere with ease. Her story served as a powerful reminder that why you should practice speaking daily is paramount. It's the active ingredient for fluency, turning theoretical knowledge into practical ability. Mistakes are inevitable, but silence guarantees stagnation, while speaking fosters growth. Lena's transformation was remarkable. From a timid learner terrified of errors, she became a confident communicator. She understood that the struggle of "I don't want to make mistakes, but I always why" eventually transforms into "I make mistakes, and that's okay, because I'm learning." She shared her journey often, especially highlighting the critical role of how to talk to people in pairs. These intimate, lower-pressure interactions had provided the crucial stepping stones, She needed to build foundational conversational skills without overwhelming anxiety. Her initial question, how other people talk in English, was answered. They talked by daring to make noise, by accepting imperfection, and by relentlessly practicing. It wasn't magic, but dedication, something she now understood deeply and applied daily. Lena often reflected on the power of English story reading. It wasn't just passive entertainment. It nurtured her intuition for grammar, expanded her lexicon, and immersed her in authentic language patterns, subtly shaping her own expressive capabilities over time. So, how to talk to anyone in English? Lena's answer was clear. Start, stumble, listen, read, and most importantly, keep speaking. Her journey proved that fluency isn't about innate talent, but about persistent effort and embracing the beautiful messiness of learning.